the COVID for a minute, just because I mean it's something we all can relate to at this point, because we are getting whiplash with things at a national level, at a local level. The CDC says this, but the Virginia Health Department says this, and
Yeah.
how do you think companies have handled the whole situation, and what would you say is at this stage would be the best method to go forward with being consistent without everybody waking up each day of the week going, well, I got to wear masks today, but on Tuesday I don't, but Friday I've got to, and I got to. What would you recommend, knowing that this is wild? Wild is the best term I can come up with.
I think that's a good one, and I particularly liked your term whiplash. That's a perfect way to describe it. And it's a tough one. I just had a meeting this morning with a potential new client who is struggling with this exact topic. And one thing that we've done at my firm is to try to work with companies to look at it holistically. That yes, we need to start putting in policies and procedures around keeping the workforce safe. It's also about wellness. It's also about communication. It's also about how do we maintain productivity within a hybrid workforce. So I don't think there's one silver answer. I think it begins, and you'll hear me say this a lot, it begins with talking to segments of your organization. And I think that the big message that we have to go out with to employees is please remain flexible, because what we know today is very different than what we'll know tomorrow. And we've seen that time and time again. And my concern is that employees will get entrenched in, well, you said this 6 months ago. Well, the world's very different 6 months ago.
Right.
And that's what I encourage employees to do, is to really to look for ways to be flexible and not entrench themselves into one mindset. And I encourage in organizations to be very open and transparent around their decision making and what's going to govern their decision making, and putting together a small task force of employee based decision making when it comes to COVID. But looking at it holistically and giving employees the tools and techniques that they need. I think early on, I think about how naive I was in March of 2020. And we were just kind of sent home and said, okay, you're just going to work from home. Well, we didn't really know what that meant. And we got really smart on that. And now we're saying, hey, we like this work from home thing. This
Mm-hmm.
is good. We're productive here. I don't have a commute, especially for those of us who live in Northern Virginia. But is that feasible when our culture grew up in a face to face? So finding that middle ground or that hybrid, I think is really key.
No, absolutely.